The Book of Enoch is one of the intriguing texts in the history of religions and is known as one of the cornerstones of Jewish mysticism. This book is considered one of the most important among the apocryphal books of the Old Testament. However, it was later lost and completely removed from the Torah at the First Council of Nicaea by the government of Constantine I on the grounds of being misleading. Parts of the Book of Enoch date back to around 300 BCE, while the most recent ones date back to 68 BC. Although the recorded history of the findings dates back to 68 BC, the stories and legends in the book have much older origins. The year 68 BC also marks the time when Roman armies heading towards Jerusalem destroyed the city of Qumran. The oldest sections of the book include chapters concerning the Nephilim and the flood of Noah, and they were written over a long period of time. It is also evident that the texts were preserved by a community known as the Essenes and influenced by them. The Book of Enoch contains many confusing terms related to the flood of Noah and the fallen angels. Therefore, it was removed and burned by Jews and Catholics around the end of the 3rd century. However, they were not entirely successful in eradicating it, as in 1773, Scottish researcher and Freemason James Bruce traveled to Abyssinia and found 3 copies of the Book of Enoch hidden in a monastery. The book was translated from Hebrew into English in 1821. The definitive proof of the existence of Enoch's book is actually related to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The scrolls were accidentally discovered by a shepherd on the shores of the Dead Sea in 1947 in a cave in Qumran, and later came into the possession of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, leading to further research in these caves. The excavations in 11 caves over 10 years yielded about 800 manuscripts and numerous fragments. Especially confusing terms like Nephilim, believed to be giants in the Torah, are said to have consumed the food of humans before eventually resorting to eating humans themselves. The reason for their origin is attributed to other angels seduced by the angel Samael, descending to Mount Hermon, deciding to have relationships with human daughters and teach them secret techniques. After causing the deviation of all humanity, for archangels, under the leadership of Archangel Michael, captured and bound them, casting them into an endless pit underground. Henceforth, these 4 archangels were called Watchers, and they watched over the 4 directions, east, south, west, and north, with their sleepless eyes. The legend of the fallen angels like Harut and Marut developed from this, later serving as material for magical books attributed to Prophet Solomon, such as the Lesser Key of Solomon. Much later, they inspired Enochian magic, which is also related to Enoch. A notable aspect is the transformation of the 4 architects of the universe, originally seen as 4 fundamental forces or directions in all religions, into 4 angels or gods over time, which is reflected differently in this book. As we continue reading, we will delve into these topics further. So who is this Enoch and what is his lineage? Firstly, in the Torah, he is mentioned as being of the lineage of Adam. It is written that he walked with God for 300 years and lived for a total of 365 years, not dying because God took him. Enoch's ascent to heaven also marks the beginning of the motif of ascending to heaven, which extends to the Kabbalah. As is known, in Islam, there are only 2 characters who have been elevated to heaven without experiencing death: Jesus and Enoch. Enoch's elevation to God marks a significant point in the Bible. Derived from the Hebrew word Hanok, meaning founder, Enoch has been associated with the Anunnaki found in Mesopotamian mythology, although this is a controversial view. Additionally, Enoch has been associated with the Egyptian god Thoth, the Greek god Hermes, and in Islam with the figure of Enoch. The Dead Sea Scrolls in the Book of Enoch are thought to belong to a sect called the Essenes. Understanding this book requires reading the Torah and the Bible, as it covers both the time before Jesus and after Jesus. In that era, there was a great variety of religious sources for the Jewish people. Besides the Torah, there were writings called the Talmud, created by religious leaders, which were also important. During that time, the Jerusalem Talmud and the Babylonian Talmud were widespread. If a Jew wanted to delve deeper into the sacred texts, they had to apply the method of interpretation called midrash. The scribes were actually engaged in this interpretive work. Religious masters were given the title of rabbi. Midrashim formed the basis of rabbinic education. Education consisted of Haggadoth, which were texts that narrated stories from the sacred texts, and Halakhoth, which contained rules and laws. Apart from these, the Talmud was also a valuable source. However, interpretations in all these books varied and led to the formation of different sects. The most important communities of that period were the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Zealots, and the Essenes. This book, destroyed by the sages, survived not only by being hidden in caves, but also by continuing its tradition, as we can see until today. The communities that have adopted this view and preserved it until today, such as the Yazidis and Yarsins, have been seen as complete heretics and have been massacred whenever possible. An important issue here is the possibility that the children referred to as Nephilim, a mix of angels and humans, could be considered as a different race from a different region, like the Moon continent. They were called Watchers and lived entirely like humans. For those who produce conspiracy theories such as ancient tablets, lost continents, intervention from a higher intellect in the past, or aliens, or the creation of religion by a superior race of humans, the Nephilim mentioned in the Torah provided significant evidence. Now, with the Dead Sea Scrolls, these theories have gained even more strength, providing ample material for authors like Erich von Däniken or Zechariah Sitchin. But the main point that draws our attention is that in all holy books, while all these events were happening, God was unaware of them until the 4 great angels went and informed him. Called the land of the watchers in summer, the Nephilim are referred to as Neter in ancient Egypt. They are found in all cultures. Until the time of the Quran, all religions defined angels as if they were superhumans, eating, drinking, tiring, and engaging in sex. This includes the Torah. Erich von Däniken's book, Chariots of the Gods, is a popular book written on this subject. There are many films, books, and views on the subject of whether we were reached by a superior race or aliens, and we called them angels or gods, and the Book of Enoch strengthens these views. If you search for this topic under the title Ancient Astronaut Theory, you can find more information. However, in my opinion, it's better to buy the books directly. The traces of this band heritage can still be found today in some angelist communities. For example, the highest being of the Yazidis, whose original name, Azazel, is known to be one of the Watchers. We will encounter this in the Book of Enoch. Another mysterious community, the Yarsins, also has angels very similar to humans. Azazel works in the service of the peacock serpent before inciting Adam and Eve. Additionally, the giants known as Nephilim, a mix of human and angel, were considered gods or great heroes in those times, as mentioned in the Torah. So it is likely that over time, they came to be known as Egyptian or Greek gods, if they were real. What stands out in Enoch is the issue of the light prince and the prince of darkness and their offspring who followed them. This issue is mentioned in Torah in Rules 3, 19-20. Also, Rules 3, 24-25, about the prince of darkness being thrown into the fires forever after the resurrection of the dead, is fundamental to Christianity and Islam. The most striking section in the book is still, in my opinion, the subject of fallen angels. In the Torah, both fallen angels and half-angels are referred to as Nephilim. The subject of angels succumbing to sin and becoming evil, with the light-bringing angel being one of them, remains an important topic in Christian theology. I bid you farewell for today, and I'll see you in the next episodes of this detailed video series. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay informed about the next video and not to miss new episodes. See you next time.